So we have a 3.6 Pentastar engine. Customer saying he's got a ticking noise from the engine, especially when it gets warm or hot. Then you can hear it better. So I pulled out my stethoscope right away, and it's hard to determine, especially on Promasters, because you cannot put your head on the other side. So what I do is start the engine, make the engine to tick, and then touch with the stethoscope on the parts where you suspect the tick coming from. So I put it here, I had nothing. I put it on the other side, I had nothing. So then I go to the other side, to the right bank, and I touch the valve cover in there, and I could hear slight tick. So I put it on the 10mm bolts that hold the valve cover, and yeah, I can hear a little click right there. Then I can find a hole through the intake manifold, and I can see one bolt there. So I put it into the bolt, and I can hear the tick a little bit more, and nothing from the left side. Nothing from the left side. So now I know that I have a valvetrain issue on the right side. So I gotta pull the intake manifold off, take the valve cover off, and take the camshafts off, and inspect the hydraulic lifters and the rocker followers, the rollers. They're probably gonna have a play, and the lifters, most likely some of them will be collapsed. Once in a while I get the rollers on the rocker arm, on the follower. Those rollers, they have like a little needle bearings, and they can wear out, causing a play and then eating the cam lobes on the camshaft. The good thing about this is that it's not a lot of work. It's probably around 3 hours to take the camshaft off, maybe less, and the parts are pretty cheap. Okay, I removed the radiator support, intake manifold. If you need help with that, I'm gonna include a link on the top. Right now I'm taking the rear valve cover out. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and another 5 bolts in the back. So 12 bolts altogether. The camshaft position sensor has to come off. The oil separator that's on the side has to come off. This guy, 2 Torx, and the camshaft actuators have to come off, which are these guys. I always mark in what positions they go in, so I put them back the same way. I don't want to swap them. And now carefully pry the valve cover out, because it's kind of glued on one side where you're supposed to put a silicone in one spot. So we just gotta be careful not to break anything, and carefully pry it, and maybe in this point. Also, there's a heater hose tube attached to the studs in the back there. Now, somebody was in here, so broke most of the clips, as you can see. That's when people don't use the right tools. This kind of tool is only like $6-7. It's well worth it. This is how it should work. Stick it under the clip, carefully pry it out, and usually it comes off. Sometimes it can get brittle by the heat, and you break it anyway. Now, removing the valve cover, it's not very easy. As you can see, there's not much room around, especially in the back here, because you kind of need to put a screwdriver in the back here to kind of pry the valve cover up. And this little the oil separator over here, it's kind of in the way, so you basically need to lift the valve cover up. You're gonna slide the valve cover out a little bit to clear this shaft for the oil separator, and then it can come up. So it is a little bit you know, fiddling around, but eventually it comes off. And right now I gotta time the engine so it's in top dead center. As you can see, these oil control valves, they have a marks on them, so you can see the arrow. Both of them have an arrow, and on the other side they have a lines. They have a over here. They have a line over here. So right side cylinder head, you want to line up the lines so they're facing each other. So I'm gonna line up the line here and line over there to be perfectly straight. So I'm gonna have to use a mirror because it's kind of hard to see in this angle. And on the left side, if you're gonna be doing left side cylinder head, taking the camshafts off or whatever, then the arrow has to be lined together. So left side arrows, right side the lines. Now to spin the engine, I use 27mm socket, half an inch with half an inch ratchet. And you want to always spin the engine clockwise, otherwise the chain might skip, or it might it's not really good for the tension and for the chain. So yeah, this is how I do it. So I put a mirror so I can see the marks nice and straight. Now I slowly spin the engine clockwise. Okay, that looks perfect to me. Good. So they're both lined up really good. Now I gotta get the special tool. I gotta get the block to lock the camshafts together. And when they are locked, then I can loose those big bolts on those oil control valves. Okay, so the camshafts are locked with this small power special tool. It's basically a plastic block. Here's the part number. Alright, part number is 10202A. And you get two blocks. You get one for right side and one for left side. So obviously I got the correct one in the right side. Now you can see from here how it locks the camshafts together. So there's really no movement at all. This block is brand new, nobody used it yet, so it was really hard to put it in. So I had to help myself with little wrenches here and move the camshaft just maybe 1-2 millimeters back and forth, and keep pushing the block in to work it all the way in, because you want the block to be all the way in, you don't want it to be only halfway in, because these nuts, they are torqued to 105 pounds, so it takes little effort to get it loose. Now I use liquid paper to make my marks. As you can see, I mark the crankshaft with the timing cover, so I know where the engine is, and I mark my chain, so I know where it is corresponding the gears. There should be 12 pins, 12 chain links between those gears, between those grooves on the gears. Now, as you can see, the rear bolt is really hard to reach, especially when you have the block installed and locked, but it is doable. You might need to find the correct size socket, I mean the depth of the socket, and the ratchet maybe not to be so bulky, so you need proper tools. And it helps if you have more teeth in the ratchet. As you can see, this ratchet moves quite a bit. This is a Craftsman ratchet, so it doesn't have too many teeth, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So once we loosened up the nuts, I mean the bolts, now we can take the block out and just take these control valves out. They're both the same, so don't really mix them up. Now, to test, to make sure the all control valve works fine, press this little plunger and make sure it comes back, right? You don't want it to be sticking nice, smooth. Okay, there's a little spring inside, so you want it to be nice and smooth. And before I take the chain with the gears out, I got marks there, and I'm also gonna make marks here. You can see the dimples, they're not actually in the center, that's how it is. So I'm gonna mark the camshaft cap where the dimple is, so I kind of know the location of the dimples, so it'll be a little easier to line up the camshafts later on. Same thing on the other side, and carefully so the chain doesn't come off, just leave it on the side, and we have enough clearance to take the camshafts off now. Now for these bolts we need a Torx 30. Make sure it's a good quality Torx, because these bolts feel pretty tight and you might chew it up with some Harbor Freight tools. So make sure you use a good quality Torx 30. And we're gonna use this sequence to lose the camshafts. So we're gonna start with obviously we're gonna start with number 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8. So the 8th bolt will be the last one we're gonna lose. We're just gonna lose. I always do it like half a turn. So half a turn here, half a turn here, half a turn, half a turn. In its neutral position already. As you can see, I move here and it comes back up. I move here and it comes back here. So this one we don't have to touch. So we're just gonna reset, put the rear one in its neutral position. Okay, never mind. These are in neutral position already. So it's only on the left side that you have to put them in neutral position. I just noticed, I already see the problem why we have that ticking noise, as you can see. This camshaft lobe has been worn out, so I'm pretty sure this rocker follower will have a play and a bearing. You can see when I put my nail here, I can see it's been, yeah, it's got a groove in there, so it should be nice and smooth, like here. See, my nail doesn't stop. It's nice and smooth. But this one, it stops here, so it just started wearing out. So we're gonna have to get new camshaft. I'll take it apart and we'll take a closer look. As you can see, all the cam caps are stamped. They have a arrow as a direction towards the timing chain. So there was number 1. Here's a number 2. The I stands for intake, so it's intake side. So we gotta make sure we put them exactly as they're supposed to go. Otherwise you're gonna have problems and you might damage camshaft and the cylinder head. See, there's a number 3, number 3I, and number 4I. On the other side, on the exhaust camshaft, it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4 E as an exhaust. Okay, now the camshafts are also stamped. Let's see if I can read the number here. See, it says 3.6 liter, and over here it says RE, like a right side cylinder head exhaust. So they make it foolproof, which is nice. This camshaft had a stamped right side RI, like a right side intake. Oh, I think it was this one that the camshaft lobe was damaged. See that? That's a lot of play, and that's chewing up the camshaft lobe. So we're gonna replace that. I'm gonna recommend replacing actually all of them. All 12. I'm gonna recommend all 12 and all 12 hydraulic lifters, because these guys, they collapse. Usually when they're spongy, usually when you can press them down, that's when they get noisy. And these are really inexpensive, so I don't want to risk opening this up in the future again, because it's kind of hard to access. So I'm still gonna take the other camshaft out and do close inspection of all the rocker arms, lifters, lobes. Every time you're handling these camshafts, pay attention to these magnetic timing wheels. They're for your camshaft sensor. It picks up the location, exact location of the camshaft. Because they are magnetic, that means if you put a magnet close to them, you might damage it. They're not removable, they're part of the camshaft. So if you damage this ring with a magnet, getting them too close together, these two guys, you might damage them and they're not gonna read correctly, and you might have a misfire, you might have a misfire codes or camshaft correlation codes, stuff like that. So be careful and keep them separate, space them out a little bit. Here you can see the sponge lifter. This is the good one. As you can see, this one doesn't move. And this one, as you can see, easily moves down. We will replace this one. Now I'll just double check that all rocker arms, rollers are in the proper place. I lubed the new camshaft, all the journals, all the cam lobes, and a little heavier oil. Everything's good. Now I can put the caps back on. Right, now I hand tight all the bolts, starting with this one. First this cap, then this cap, then this cap, then this cap. The torque is only 10 Newton meters, so it seems like very low, but that's how it is. So use a good torque wrench that goes to 10 Newton meters. Most 3/8 torque wrenches go from I want to say 15, 20 Newton meters and up, or 10 pounds and up, so it's got to be a little better torque wrench. And we'll start from this one. Now we can put back the cam gears. It's never easy, so gotta be patient. Remember, you're fighting the spring-loaded tensioner. The ticking couldn't be on the left-hand side. It's always gonna be the right side. Always the one that's hard to reach. Goodness. All right, so finally I got both cam gears on. The trick was putting the exhaust cam gear on first, and then I could pull on the chain a little better with the cam gear, get the automatic tensioner to release a little bit, and finally I was able to slide it in. So now I gotta install the bolts, hand tight, and install the cam holder again, and then we can torque the oil control valves.